In the beginning, it was nothing special. A small city on the banks of the Tiber River, surrounded by enemies, vulnerable, unremarkable. There was no sign that this settlement would one day dominate nearly the entire known world. No indication that it would become one of the most powerful civilizations in human history. And yet it did. The Roman Empire did not rise because of luck. It rose because of discipline, strategy, adaptation, and a relentless belief in expansion. But more importantly, it became unstoppable because it learned faster than its enemies. Rome began as a kingdom, but in 509 BC, something changed. The Romans overthrew their king and established a republic. Power was no longer held by one man. Instead, it was divided, balanced, controlled. This system, the Roman Republic, gave Rome something rare in the ancient world: stability. While other civilizations were ruled by unpredictable monarchs, Rome built institutions. Senators debated policy. Consuls commanded armies. Laws were written and enforced. This structure allowed Rome to survive internal conflict and external threats. But governance alone was enough. Rome needed strength. What truly set Rome apart was its army. The Roman legion was not just a fighting force. It was a system. Each soldier was trained to fight not as an individual, but as part of a unit, disciplined, coordinated, relentless. Roman soldiers carried standardized weapons. The gladius, short sword. The scutum, large shield. Javelins designed to disable enemy shields. But it wasn't just their weapons. It was their organization. Legions could build camps overnight. They could march long distances with precision. They could adapt their formations based on the enemy. Most importantly, they could recover from defeat because Rome had something many enemies didn't: depth. When an army was destroyed, Rome didn't collapse. It rebuilt. Stronger, faster, more determined. Rome's greatest strength was not its army. It was its ability to learn. When Rome faced the Carthaginian general Hannibal during the Second Punic War, it suffered devastating losses. Entire armies were wiped out. At the Battle of Cannae, tens of thousands of Roman soldiers were killed in a single day. For most civilizations, that would have been the end. But not Rome. Instead of surrendering, Rome changed its strategy. It avoided direct confrontation. It stretched Hannibal's resources. It learned from its mistakes. And eventually it struck back, not in Italy, but in Carthage itself. Rome didn't just fight. It evolved. While other empires focused only on conquest, Rome built something far more powerful: infrastructure, roads, aqueducts, cities. The famous phrase still echoes today: all roads lead to Rome. These roads allowed armies to move quickly across vast distances. They allowed communication to flow. They connected the empire. Aqueducts brought water into cities, supporting large populations, improving health, increasing stability. Rome didn't just conquer territory. It integrated it. Most empires ruled through fear. Rome did something different. It offered citizenship. Conquered people could become Roman. They could gain rights, trade freely, participate in the system. This created loyalty. Instead of constant rebellion, Rome built alliances. Communities became part of the empire, not just subjects of it. This was a strategic advantage, because an empire that people believe in is much harder to destroy. Rome's expansion brought wealth, gold, silver, land. Resources flowed into the empire. Trade routes expanded. Markets grew. A stable currency allowed commerce to thrive. Rome became not just a military power, but an economic engine. Wealth funded the army. The army protected trade. Trade generated more wealth. It was a cycle, a self-reinforcing system. Rome produced leaders who were not just powerful, but ambitious. One of the most famous was Julius Caesar, a brilliant general, a strategic thinker, a man who understood both war and politics. Caesar expanded Rome's territory dramatically. He conquered Gaul. He reformed systems. He centralized power. But his ambition came at a cost. His rise threatened the Republic. And in 44 BC, he was assassinated. But even in death, Caesar changed Rome forever, because what followed was even more powerful. After years of civil war, Rome transitioned from a republic to an empire. Power consolidated under one man, Augustus. Augustus brought stability. He reformed the military, strengthened the economy, expanded infrastructure, and most importantly, he created peace. This period became known as the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. For over 200 years, Rome experienced relative stability and growth. Trade flourished, cities expanded, culture spread. Rome was no longer just a regional power. It was the center of the world. Rome didn't just win battles. It created fear. Enemies knew the reputation of Roman legions. They knew resistance often led to destruction. This psychological advantage made conquest easier. Sometimes, cities surrendered without a fight because the cost of resistance was too high. Rome understood something critical. Power is not just physical, it is psychological. At its peak, the Roman Empire stretched across 3 continents: Europe, Africa, Asia. It controlled millions of people, countless cities, vast resources. Its strength came from a combination of factors: military discipline, political structure, economic power, infrastructure, adaptability. No single factor made Rome unstoppable. It was a system that reinforced itself. Strength feeding strength, growth feeding growth. But here's the truth most people miss. Rome was not unstoppable because it was perfect. It was unstoppable because it was flexible. It learned from defeat. It adapted to new challenges. It absorbed ideas from other cultures. While other empires resisted change, Rome embraced it. The story of Rome is not just history. It is a blueprint, a lesson in power. Success is not about being the strongest at the start. It is about becoming stronger over time, learning faster, adapting quicker, building systems that outlast individuals. Rome didn't rise overnight. It rose through centuries of discipline, strategy, and evolution. And for a time, it became unstoppable. Because in the end, the greatest empires are not built by force alone. They are built by systems that refuse to break.